In June 2025, the United States conducted a secret mission called Operation Midnight Hammer, which involved stealth bombers striking 3 Iranian nuclear facilities, Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan. They went in, dropped their payload, and came out undetected. Picture this. There's an aircraft so stealthy and so expensive that losing just one would cost more than the entire GDP of some small nations. It's practically invisible to radar, can reach any target on Earth within hours, and only 21 of them exist. This is the story of the most expensive military aircraft ever built, the B-2 Spirit stealth bomber. Let's start with a number that sounds almost fictional: $2.2 billion. That's not the development cost. That's not the program budget. That's the price tag for a single B-2 Spirit bomber when you factor in development, production, and operational costs. To put that in perspective, you could buy approximately 11 Boeing 747s for the same price, or purchase a small fleet of F-35 fighters, or fund a medium-sized university for an entire year. But here's what makes that price tag even more staggering. The Air Force originally planned to build 132 of these flying wings. Instead, budget cuts and the end of the Cold War reduced that number to just 21 operational aircraft. This means each plane carries not just its own construction costs, but a massive share of the entire development program that was spread across far fewer units than originally intended. The B-2 looks like nothing else in the sky. Forget everything you think you know about what an airplane should look like. There's no tail, no vertical stabilizer, no conventional fuselage. What you're looking at is essentially a massive, gracefully curved wing spanning 170 feet from tip to tip, with 4 engines buried deep inside its body and a cockpit that barely protrudes from the sleek surface. It's painted in an anti-reflective gray coating that seems to absorb light rather than reflect it, making it appear almost ethereal when photographed. This isn't just an expensive plane. This is a technological marvel that represents the absolute cutting edge of what human engineering could achieve in the 1980s and 90s, and it remains largely unmatched today. Before we dive deeper, pause for a second and tell me this in the comments. If you could fly one aircraft from history, would you pick the B-2 Spirit, the SR-71 Blackbird, or the F-35 Lightning II? I'm really curious which one wins this time. To understand why the B-2 exists, we need to rewind to the height of the Cold War. Picture this. It's the late 1970s, and American defense planners are facing a terrifying scenario. The Soviet Union has built the most sophisticated air defense network in human history. Thousands of radar installations, surface-to-air missile batteries, and interceptor aircraft create an overlapping web of detection and destruction that seems impenetrable. Traditional bombers like the B-52, despite their legendary status, would face astronomical losses trying to penetrate Soviet airspace. Even flying low to avoid radar detection, these massive aircraft would light up enemy screens like Christmas trees. American strategists needed something revolutionary, something that could slip through those defenses like a ghost in the night. Enter the concept of stealth technology. The idea wasn't actually new. During World War II, the Germans had experimented with radar-absorbing materials. But it wasn't until the 1970s that American engineers working in secret facilities cracked the code on how to make an aircraft truly invisible to radar. The breakthrough came from an unlikely source, a Soviet physicist's academic paper on electromagnetic wave reflection. American scientists realized that by carefully shaping an aircraft's surfaces and coating them with radar-absorbing materials, they could redirect enemy radar waves away from their source rather than bouncing them back. The aircraft wouldn't be literally invisible, of course, but to a radar operator, it would appear no larger than a small bird or a weather anomaly. The Air Force handed this challenge to Northrop Corporation, a company with experience in flying wing designs dating back to the 1940s. The contract was awarded in 1981, and what followed was one of the most secretive development programs in aviation history. Entire facilities were built in remote locations, workers signed non-disclosure agreements that would last decades. Even the shape of the aircraft remained classified until its dramatic public unveiling. Development took place primarily at Air Force Plant 42 in Palmdale, California, a sprawling facility in the Mojave Desert where some of America's most classified aircraft have been born. Engineers worked in windowless buildings, testing materials and designs that pushed the boundaries of what was physically possible. They weren't just building an airplane, they were inventing entirely new manufacturing processes, creating materials that had never existed before, and solving problems that had never been encountered. The flying wing design wasn't chosen for aesthetics, it was cold hard physics. A conventional aircraft, with its protruding tail, engines, and angular surfaces, creates dozens of hard edges and right angles that reflect radar energy directly back to its source. The B-2's smooth, curved surfaces and carefully calculated angles deflect radar waves in directions away from enemy receivers. Every single surface, every curve, every angle was precisely calculated using supercomputers to minimize radar reflection. But stealth technology goes much deeper than just shape. The B-2's entire body is constructed from composite materials embedded with radar-absorbing substances. The engines are buried deep within the wing to hide their heat signature and radar-reflective turbine blades. Even the exhaust is cooled and dispersed to reduce infrared detection. The aircraft's skin includes thousands of precisely machined panels that must maintain incredibly tight tolerances. We're talking about gaps between panels measured in thousandths of an inch, because even a slightly misaligned panel could create a radar return that compromises the entire stealth capability. The first B-2 took flight on July 17, 1989. Test pilot Bruce Hines guided the aircraft through its maiden voyage, and by all accounts, it performed beautifully. But getting from that first flight to operational status would take another 8 years of rigorous testing, refinement, and integration of systems. If you're enjoying peeling back the layers of how technology like this actually shapes history, hit that subscribe button and stay with us. Every week, One Good Fact breaks down a hidden story behind the machines and decisions that changed our world. No jargon, just clarity.
Now, let's talk about what the B-2 can actually do, because its capabilities are just as impressive as its price tag. This aircraft can fly more than 6,000 nautical miles without refueling. With aerial refueling, which is designed to do routinely, it can reach literally any point on Earth. Launch from Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri, and you can strike targets in the Middle East, Asia, or Africa, and return home without landing anywhere else. The B-2 carries up to 40,000 pounds of ordnance. That's a staggering amount of destructive capability. It can deploy everything from conventional gravity bombs to precision-guided munitions to massive bunker-busting weapons designed to penetrate underground facilities. The aircraft's 2 internal bomb bays keep all weapons hidden inside the fuselage, maintaining that crucial stealth profile. External hardpoints, which most aircraft use to carry extra weapons, would completely compromise the B-2's stealth characteristics. But perhaps the most impressive capability is the targeting and navigation system. The B-2 uses a combination of GPS, inertial navigation, and terrain-following radar to navigate with incredible precision. Its AN/APQ-181 radar can map targets while remaining virtually undetectable itself. The aircraft can fly in any weather, day or night, and strike multiple targets in a single mission with accuracy measured in feet, not miles. The cockpit houses 2 crew members, a pilot and a mission commander. These aren't just any pilots. They're among the most elite aviators in the Air Force, selected through an incredibly rigorous process and trained for months before they ever fly an operational mission. The cockpit itself is surprisingly conventional in some ways, though it's equipped with the most advanced avionics available. Long-range missions can last more than 30 hours, so the aircraft includes a small toilet and provisions for crew rest, though calling it comfortable would be a stretch. Maintaining these aircraft is an endeavor unto itself. After every flight, maintenance crews inspect the radar-absorbing coating, which is delicate and can be damaged by rain, temperature changes, or even bird strikes. Special climate-controlled hangars at Whiteman Air Force Base protect the aircraft when they're not flying. Each B-2 requires more than 100 hours of maintenance for every hour of flight time. That's an extraordinary ratio, but it's necessary to maintain the aircraft's stealth characteristics and operational readiness. The B-2 has seen combat action in several conflicts. It debuted operationally during the Kosovo War in 1999, flying missions from Whiteman Air Force Base to targets in Yugoslavia and back, a round trip exceeding 30 hours. During the opening nights of operations in Afghanistan and Iraq, B-2s struck high-value targets, taking advantage of their stealth to penetrate defended airspace that other aircraft couldn't safely access. In 2011, B-2s participated in strikes against Libya, demonstrating their continued relevance decades after their introduction. More recently, they've been involved in operations against ISIS targets in the Middle East. In every conflict, the B-2's unique capability to strike anywhere, anytime, without warning has proven strategically invaluable. But here's something that often gets overlooked. The B-2 isn't just a weapon, it's a deterrent. The mere existence of an aircraft that can penetrate any air defense system and deliver precision strikes changes the strategic calculus for potential adversaries. Knowing that the United States possesses this capability influences decisions in capitals around the world. You can't defend against what you can't see coming. The fleet is named after states, and each aircraft has its own identity. The Spirit of Missouri, Spirit of California, Spirit of New York, and 17 others, each representing a connection to American states and the people who built these incredible machines. Only one has been lost. The Spirit of Kansas crashed in Guam in 2008 due to moisture in air data sensors, though both crew members ejected safely. That single loss represented a nearly $2 billion accident, making it the most expensive aircraft crash in history. Looking to the future, the B-2 faces an interesting position. It's still highly capable, with planned upgrades to extend its service life into the 2030s or even the 2040s. But the Air Force is already developing its successor, the B-21 Raider, which promises even more advanced stealth capabilities and a more affordable production run. The B-21 looks remarkably similar to the B-2, proving that the flying wing design remains the optimal configuration for a stealth bomber. What makes the B-2 story so compelling isn't just the technology or the cost. It's what this aircraft represents about human ambition and capability. In the 1980s, engineers created something that seemed impossible, an aircraft the size of a football field that could become virtually invisible to radar. They solved problems that had never been solved before, invented materials that had never existed, and pushed manufacturing precision to levels that seemed unattainable. The B-2 Spirit stands as a testament to what's possible when innovation meets determination and unlimited resources. It's a reminder that sometimes creating something truly revolutionary requires accepting costs that seem unreasonable, timelines that seem impossible, and technical challenges that seem insurmountable. 21 aircraft for over $40 billion total might sound excessive, but what America bought wasn't just planes. It bought a capability that no other nation has successfully replicated, a technological advantage that has lasted for decades, and a deterrent that has potentially prevented conflicts we'll never know about. So the next time you hear about billion-dollar price tags and defense spending, remember the B-2. Sometimes the most expensive option isn't wasteful. Sometimes it's the only option that actually works. And sometimes, when you're trying to create something that can change the entire strategic balance of power, you have to be willing to pay for perfection. Because in the business of national security, being second best isn't an option. The B-2 Spirit sits at the intersection of engineering wonder and strategic choice. It's a reminder that the tools we build shape not just wars, but policies, alliances, and the thresholds for action. The B-2 Spirit isn't just an aircraft, it's a statement about how invisibility can become power. If you want more stories like this, about the ideas, inventions, and strategies that quietly change the world, make sure you subscribe and tap the bell so you don't miss the next drop. And here's a question to take with you. In an age of AI detection and satellite tracking, can true stealth still exist? Let's debate it below. Your insight might inspire our next episode.